Hello everybody, Christian from Treasure Town here, and today we're going to be speaking about the 1981p Susan B. Anthony dollar, going over a brief history, but then focusing in on the ones that are worth more money than the rest of them. 1981p, there's a few much rarer ones, and then there's also going to be some mint errors that we cover, so stick around. It's not going to be super long, but we'll start with that brief history. So they were introduced in 1979 and went for 2 years until 1981, declining mintages along the way because they really weren't that popular. They were confused with quarters and not great at their initial purpose, which was sort of to help with some machines that required them, vending machines, arcades, and other coin-operated machines, and it commemorates Susan B. Anthony, who was an abolitionist, but most known for her work towards women's suffrage, the right to vote in the United States, which culminated in the 19th Amendment in 1920. These coins also got brought back in 1999 just to have a lot of supply ahead of the 2000 Sacagawea gold dollar release, which also ended up not being that well received, but they were much smaller than the previous Eisenhower dollar, which was just way too big and not useful for circulation. They did get hoarded, so there was just a lot of confusion, and it was not super effective. They were pretty well struck, though. 1981, you see a real decline in mintage. Like I'll fast forward to it, but it's 3 million for this one compared to a few years earlier. 1979, there were probably 100 million over that made it at the S mint and over 300 million at the P mint. So this one was a huge decline. The coin is also quite rare. It's the most rare overall, but it's less rare than the 1981S in high grades, but still they're both pretty conditionally rare. There's only 21 in mint state 67, as opposed to a lot of the others where there are 100 or many more than that. There's 21 certified, probably about 100 out there, but this is one of the keys of this series, and you can see that here. Mint State 66, it's a $30 coin, and that's certified. Mint State 66 Plus is $150, which is well ahead of most others. Then Mint State 67 is over $1,000. So there's a fair amount of them out there. The 21, often you'll see that sort of valuation on ones where it's there's maybe like 3 or 4 certified for the more modern coins, but this is just recognized as a real conditional rarity, and anything above that would be super expensive. But you're going to be looking at the cheek and the high points in the hair to see if there's any marking, because you can still cherry pick these. I'm not going to say easily at all, but there's a lot of people who don't really understand what they have. I've seen some really nice looking ones that were probably more in the 66 range, but it's not a stretch to believe that there are a lot of uncertified 67s or a few of them that you might be able to encounter and grade. The coin, in terms of some of the mint errors, you can look for the reverse or obverse clad layer missing. This is a common problem on these coins, but there's an initial sort of middle layer of copper, and then sort of the nickel, the clad layer on either side. Sometimes one of those layers becomes unbonded from the main planchet, and here this sold for $210, so a nice premium there. This one was struck off-center. That was the only 1981p error I could find. But you can also find off-center strikes. This one sold for $440 when the planchet doesn't properly get between the dies as they strike. And then here, this one was struck on a nickel or a 5-cent planchet. This was a 1980. That sold for $6,900 and circulated a little bit before somebody recognized it. So just pay attention to all of your coins, not just your dollars. But the big thing here is these are slightly rarer coins. You're less likely, they're not really worth over $1 if they're pretty circulated, maybe $1.25, since this is a slightly rarer date. But really the significant thing to be looking for is going to be really uncirculated ones, because often Mint State 67, maybe the premium is like $100, but there's some real upside here. So keep an eye out. Thanks for watching the video. I'd encourage you to like the video, comment, and make sure to subscribe to my channel. And I also have Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and some other social media platforms. You can also go to my main channel website, treasuretownYT.com, to learn more about the channel and sort of stay in contact. I also will eventually host all of these videos on coinsmetalscards.com, which will be both news, marketplace, and coin information. I do have the goal of eventually getting pretty much every US coin, date, mint mark, denomination on the channel with a similar video to the one that you just watched, and that will likely all be hosted there. And then I also have treasuretowncoins.com, which is sort of my coin dealing wing, coin dealing only entity that is a little bit less focused on content production. So thank you so much, and I'll look forward to seeing you on some of my other videos. I also have videos that are not just the date, mint mark, denomination recap in this format, so you can check some of those out, and I'll have fun seeing you there.